Hello Melodies gamers and welcome for this first part of the video of Fuga 2 Melodies of Steel or Fuga Melodies of Steel 2. This video will entirely be based on the recap of the first game. If you haven't played or before recording this video, the whole recap is silent, so I'm gonna put my little bit of comments into it. And let's go! I'm gonna pause all the time. So let's start right away. In the first movie, you start in the countryside of a little country where all the races are welcomed and there's no discrimination. As you can see in this little village in the countryside, you have the boy here is a caninu, so a dog race, and behind you can see two cat people, so felinecos. They are very happy in their countryside city, and everything's perfect and fantastic and nice, and even the weather's nice. But that will change very fast with the Burman army attacking the country for the reason that we'll see later, and they burn all the whole country, and they will kidnap all of the adults to work in their mines because basically they are looking for an artifact of unknown nature. The kids flee the village and are guided by a voice to a grotto where they find this relic of an old age, the Tyrannis, which is a giant tank, which is completely out of place in their day. Just to remind you, Little Tail Bronx, so Fuga is part of the Little Tail Bronx saga, and this is basically it's a post-apo story. This is 3,000 or 4,000 years after the human race destroyed themselves with immense weapon born of technology, and this Tyrannis is one of such weapons which destroyed the world. So right now, I'm gonna just pause here. So right now, for the kids, and guided by this voice, it's the only way for them to free their parents which have been kidnapped. So this little bunch of orphans, here you can see in front, Malt is 12 years old and he's trying to be the leader because he's the oldest. So it's really just a bunch of kids in a massive tank trying to save their parents. Here is the first German Burman commander. I'm gonna make slips all the time. The first Burman commander, the boss of the first stage, which is basically here for the tutorial. And you're gonna pass the countryside. You will collect or you will gather a lot of other kids through the countryside whose parents and families have been kidnapped. So you have the twins. These two guys, there are two generals in charge of a prison camp. I think they are the boss of chapter 4 or 5 in the first game. So you see the colors of the enemy. This is all part of a gameplay that we'll see in the second video. I'll explain the gameplay later. And the mysterious voice is coming from this hologram, which is the AI of the tank. We'll discover it later, but the whole time the kids have been guided by the AI of the tank called Jeanne. And at this time she's split in two, so she's just trying to exist. She's trying to come back to reform herself into one, but at this time she can't, so she just appears. She's just an apparition to the kids. She can't talk to them, right? At least she can talk to them through radio, but she can't talk to them through the hologram. So you pick up, I don't remember her name, but she's a very good healer. Not as good as Hannah, but she's a good healer. So you will pick her during one of your missions. Same for him, his father has been killed working in a factory, and he stole a tank, and seeing your tank, he attacks you right away, only to discover that, inside the tank there's a colony of kids, and then he joins you to take his revenge against Berman for his father. This lady, she's gonna be the cause of a big trauma for the kids. She's the adopted daughter of the first boss we saw earlier, the old Burman general that we actually killed in the tutorial. She's his daughter, and she's honor bound to avenge her father, so she's trying to destroy the kid and the tank. We'll see her in a couple of chapters. So this, I think her name was Waka or something like this. She's a little tomboy in charge of the kids of the village, and we unfortunately destroy her little tree house with her tank, with a massive tank. So as repayment, she's following us, and she's trying to be the leader, and she is gonna have a fun relationship with Malt. Malt trying to be the leader because he's the oldest. She wants to be the leader because she is the leader of her village. So they have a little back and forth, which is always nice. This guy has the most interesting story, and the whole story of Fuga 1 hinges on your relationship with him. His father was a Burman spy who was sent to I can't remember, but the kid's country. Can't remember the name. Later it's gonna be called Shepherd, but at this time I think it's Galia, or maybe maybe I'm mixing up. Anyway, his father was a spy, but the Burman country is a very militaristic country. There's very contrary to the country the kids live. There's massive discrimination on Felineco. They are referencing obviously to Nazi of World War II. So his father was a spy. He really liked how the other country lived their life and turned traitor to his country. So in order to protect his sister and his mother, this poor child has engaged into the army in order to redeem the honor of his traitor father, who I believe died. I think he was recaptured by the Burman and executed for treason. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So when he arrives, of course, he's a Burman, so the kids have lots of trouble trusting him. So the big cat in a white blouse you saw 10 seconds ago is a traitor who worked for the Burmans, and this guy want to be a dog so much that he always is a cat, is a felinico, but he always wear a dog mask and with little ears. At some point, it fell in. His guys are like his soldiers are like, sir, your mask. He's doing some absolutely terrible experiments, trying to steal the magic. The Felinicos, or at least some Felinicos, can use magic, and he's using this tank to steal the life force or the magic to power up a certain weapon that or certain artifact that the Burman have been looking for, and which is the whole reason for the invasion. So here you can see Jeanne is finally complete, and she's finally talking to the kids. These guys are the friendly army, and they are quite useless because they are always behind the tanks. They don't understand how come a massive tank is destroying the enemy, and they're always a step behind, saying, "What's happening? Someone is destroying the enemy for us. Look after it. Try to get information." And they're really trying to play catch up with your tank. And the daughter of the general is back. She's the boss of chapter 7 or 8 at this stage, and you're gonna beat her again, and she's gonna come out of her tank completely blowing up in flame. She's just a picture of rage at this point, and unfortunately she's gonna die with the tank blowing up, and that's gonna be a big trauma for the kids because they just want to save their parents. They don't want to kill any other people, but they are forced to all along the game, so it's quite a trauma for the kids. And here, the kid's tank is a Taranis. This one is a Tarascus. This is the artifact that the Burman general was looking for all along. and with the energy that the scientist has gathered up, he can power up his twin of the Tyrannus. So it's really twin tanks. So you're gonna beat him up, but because of the scenario, he's gonna disable the Tyrannus just for a moment and rush to the capital city of the country. And while he does that, you free, because of course these guys, the parents were mining to get this tank. So now that they arrived and the big enemy tank has fled, they have liberated their parents. So you could think it's a happy ending at this time. You could think so, except that through the radio, Jeanne, the AI, so it's at this point of the story that we realize that Jeanne has been split in two. The main role of Jeanne as a tank was to destroy massive weapon of mass destruction in the Age of Man. And the AI, after 3,000 years, went psychotic. And she still thinks it's her role to destroy these beasts even though they don't exist anymore. So she guided the voice that the kid had and guiding them since the start. The exact same happened for the German general, and this voice guided him to the Tarascus. The point is that she created some kind of legend saying that the Tarascus was kind of a god, and by getting the tank, this German Berman general kind of control a god, and with this he will be able to control one of these giant weapon of mass destruction from the old time. So if he can do that, he's gonna destroy the world. That's what Jan is telling them right now. You found your parents. That's fantastic. I'm very happy for you. However, you and the Tyrannus are the only weapon which can stop the German, the Berman general. So here they make the tough decision to follow. This is the Berman general, and here you can see this is where the scenario in Fuga 1 split. Depending on your relationship with him, you may or may not, and this is a massive spoiler, so you may want to skip the next 20 seconds. You may or may not kill him. He's forced by the Berman commander to fight his old friends for the sake of his mother and daughter. So if you have a good enough relationship with him, then you will be able to tell him that you got the information that no, they are safe. They are safe with his the other villager, and he has nothing to worry about. If you don't have a good enough relationship with him, you have to understand that you get this guy very late in the game, and because of the game mechanics, you don't really want to play with him or to interact with him, and that's what makes you fail your first gameplay 9 times out of 10 if you don't know that. If you don't know that, so you have to play a second gameplay and make sure your relationship with him is very good, so that he doesn't die, basically. And here you're chasing the Tarascus all the way to the capital city. Yeah, so the Berman had a little bit of body mutilation. I don't remember exactly what happened to him, but he's not exactly sane. As you can see, there's a little Eiffel Tower there, which makes you think that the country we are living in would be France. This is the capital of the country, and look at it because it looks good. And no, it does not. Under the capital city was one of the weapon of mass destruction that the Berman general reactivated thanks to the Tarascus. And with your tank, you go on the back of the beast inside the city. You will find a hole to get inside the beast and finally confront the Tarascus. So in the bad ending where you cannot save the Berman child, you have no choice but to use the soul cannon. The soul cannon is a massive cannon on the top of your tank, which use the life force of one of your kids to destroy any enemy in front. It's an extremely powerful weapon, but it kills one of your kid. Bad ending if you get, any kid killed, of course. But if the Burman kid doesn't survive, you have no choice. You have to sacrifice someone else. So you have at least 2 kids who pass away in the first gameplay. In the second, you don't need to do that. And with the power of love and courage, they will be able to, I believe, start. I don't remember, I'm a bit fuzzy on this, but they start the soul cannon without sacrificing anyone and defeat the bad guy, the baddie. That's a big railgun. And doing so will destroy the heart of the big beast and almost destroy the island they are on. So here, the AI Jeanne is very happy that she has accomplished a mission of fixing herself. Basically, her psychotic part is gone, and now she will quietly disappear, while the Tarascus is destroyed with a big weapon, and the Taranis is in a very bad state, almost dying. I believe that with the disappearance of Jeanne being the AI of the tank, the Taranis will be unusable from now on. And here you can see the Zeppelin there is the army, which comes to save the children. Bye bye, Jeanne. And this is a good ending for every one of the kids, with the Taranis resting one last time. And that's it for Fuga 1. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And in the second part of the video, we're gonna start playing the first chapter, so tutorial maybe in chapter 1 of Fuga 2, so I can explain the mechanics and see what's the big threat looming over these kids. Alright, then I wish you a pleasant evening and bye bye!